guys, welcome back to another Everyday Patio video. Today we're going to be showing a full glass room build with skylights in the roof. It's going to be about 2 days on the build. We finish it mostly in one day and then have a couple things with the electrical and other stuff to wrap up on the second day. So here you see we're doing layout. We had to start out with measuring diagonally just to make sure the room was square. You could tell from the concrete it was like jogging a little bit, so then the next day we came out with our 3-4-5 square and squared it off again. So it's not 100% to the house, but it's as good as you're gonna get, and it's good to check like 2 to 3 different forms of square, diagonals, 3-4-5, if you're aligned with the house, to see what really is the best layout for the house, because square actually would have looked off square on this property. So here we're laying out the bottom tracks. We drilled a 3/8 hole, and then we're putting in our red heads with the hammer drill right there, about every 2 feet on the bottom track, and then one at each mullion as we're building the room. Also, where you see those like creases in the concrete, the score marks, I like to drill those out with underneath it with the red head drill bit as well. That way you just stop water intrusion from that area. And that's the corner. We put a 45-degree corner on each end of the room now, just to keep water flow better. And then you seal the red heads and seal the corners. So this is one of the last steps before we start putting in the wall tracks. And there's the wall tracks coming in. So the wall tracks are numbered. It's like 1 through 9, I believe, on this one. And they're labeled on it like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 goes to 8, 1 goes to 2, and then your front walls normally, I think on this one the front wall is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I started on the end because those were the first wall pieces we had, and then we lifted up the middle section to kind of put everything together, assemble the pieces in order. I prefer to build the front wall first because then you can drop in the other sections a little bit easier. And then we're just making sure it's symmetrical. That 2-foot level is what I use to level out the windows. So these are 48-inch wide windows by 54-inch tall. You have a 60-inch tall option, and as far as widths, you'd gotta think like 3 foot to about 5 feet wide on the windows. If you're going smaller or larger than that, you're gonna get more of like a pocket transom, kind of like the upper and lower glass transoms on the room right there. And that's our corner piece for the room. So it's a 1-piece corner that we're gonna put fill on either side, and that's gonna bridge the gap between the left wall and the front wall. I really like the angle glass here too. We can kind of order custom trapezoid glass, but it really gives that room that extra look. You can see we pulled our electrical from an outlet that the customer requested. It was kind of a unique stucco situation there because it was about 1 inch of foam behind the stucco, and then behind that was plywood, and then behind that was the 2x4 framing of the house, which wasn't 16-inch on center. I'm assuming because it's kind of a shear wall in a high wind area that didn't used to have a lot of houses around it, so it just had a lot more wind load and seismic load than a typical built up area. So I think that was why I believe the whole house was sheeted. I actually built another job right around the corner from this job that we made a YouTube video about, and it was the same thing, same layout. I believe it was just, I think that side of the house is a shear wall, off-center stud framing. And here we're putting in the fill pieces above the door, upper glass transom. So you can order a transom above the door as well. And that's the top track going on. So you can kind of see there's a little channel on the top of the top track. That's where you run your electrical. So for your outlets, you can also run for your switches and stuff, which I did on this build. But I think in the future, I'm probably gonna run with like wireless switches by Lutron and Caseta. It's a lot easier to put that in the top corner of the room by your hanger and then put the wireless switch wherever you want, so you don't have to have any unneeded wiring. You're still gonna have to wire for the outlets no matter what, but it would just save a lot of room, because that was the only issue I really noticed when doing the electrical that you'll see later on, is there wasn't much room to put all the wires and put a recessed box in there. Like if you're just putting an outlet or a GFI, there's enough room, but when you're putting multiple switches, it becomes a little bit too crowded. So in that case, it'd be easier to just put the wireless switch in the corner of the room and then put the receiver on the door if you'd like it there, or inside, or wherever you'd like it. You just don't want that wireless switch being exposed to the sun above the patio. And that's all the wiring kind of roughed in. We're close to being done with the wall portion. There's going to be a little bit of sealant we're going to have to do the next day. But basically I wanted to get the walls and the roof up in one day. It kind of goes better when you have all that go quickly, and then you can kind of touch everything else up after and like clean up and seal the roof and do all the other things. And that's the hanger. So you can see our electrical wires, we pull into the hanger from the top track of the room. So I put a 1-inch hole in the hanger, a 1-inch hole in the top track, and just we feed everything there, and then we kind of clip them inside the hanger with like 1x2 like flashing or wall strips that hold it up there, and that way we're able to feed it into the roof as we're building. A lot of people drill out the holes for the roof, like as they're building out the roof. I normally just throw them in there and then drill it out after, but user preference. If you're new at doing this, you probably want to drill out your hole first, like kind of at this point where they're putting everything together, and then pull out your electrical as you're putting the roof panel up. I just find it easier to put in the electrical, drill the hole, and pull it out. And those are the 3-inch insulated roof panels we're putting on this room. And then there's going to be skylights. So 3 roof panels in the center, and then a skylight on either side with a fan in the middle and 4 lights. That's the roof. So we sealed behind the hanger, and then we're going to seal above it. And then I think on this one we actually did like a third final seal. We put like a silicone layer on that hanger. You can put flashing, but a lot of time on a insulated patio cover, the flashing will create like a water stop, and it'll slow water down, so it'll actually cause the patio cover to leak. In that case, we normally put like a silicone layer. If you're gonna put flashing, you want to put like a 2-foot piece of flashing plus, but again, this one has skylights, you'd see the flashing from underneath, so we kind of opted not to do that in this case and just sealed it properly. And that's me drilling out for the 4-inch recessed lights. So those are color changeable. It's, I believe, 2700K, like warm lighting option. The cool lighting options at around like 5K. And we're wiring it all in. I really like how those Illumaview Skylights look. So these ones came out about last year, and instead of being opaque like they were before, they're actually see-through, so you can see through to the top. New system, curious to see it through the years, but it's a pretty awesome. It really brightens up the room, and I really like that about it. And here's where I was talking about with the electrical. So the GFI didn't have too much trouble with. I was able to fit it in there and use a little metal recessed box. I prefer to use a plastic box, but there is no boxes currently that I can find that are plastic that'll fit in there, because then you wouldn't have to ground the line to the room. And that's what I was getting at. If you actually use the wireless switches, you wouldn't have to do all the grounding and like wiring that you see I'm kind of having to like push in there. I actually had to drill a hole out behind as like a junction to like be able to fit everything. So that's the only thing I would change about running the electrical on this. I would take it to the hanger like I normally do and just put a wireless receiver over there. You can see the dimmer right there. And then there's those beauty caps that we're putting on the inside. After the electrical's done and ran, you put on those beauty cap covers. Those electrical channels are called the mullion. And then that's us adjusting the screen door. So you get some minor adjustments on the screen door and on the glass door just to be able to make sure it opens and closes properly. And then it's cleanup time. So this was us wrapping up on day 2. It was a pretty good, straightforward build. I'm glad to have been able to make a video on it and show you guys. See the downspout right there, and then the whole track. So this is after everything's sealed, the roof's sealed, the walls are sealed. I like to put a thin layer around it. And then skylights, fans working. I'm really glad with how this room came together. If you guys want to see more videos like this, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment below. We're really happy to be able to do these and look forward to doing a lot more this year. We have quite a few room builds coming up, so be sure to get those out to you guys. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and Everyday Patio out.